Good evening, everyone. This is Rahul Jain. I'm the Managing Director, InnoServe Group, Director, Digital HR. Welcome you all to this exciting evening to discuss the digital outreach in HR during COVID-19 and beyond. This is our second episode to the series of events that we have launched last month, and we are excited with the kind of response we are getting to our initiative. And I'm thankful to all of you for entrusting us, with variety of topics that we are going to bring to you. Let me tell you that these are very difficult and unprecedented times. We all know and understand that how organizations are evolving to cope with these uncertainties. During these times, it's very critical that we involve and engage with our employees. And for that, digital, I think, is one of the most effective medium. How different organizations are actually catching up is a thing to understand. And that's why we thought that it's important to put this forum together and have the perspective coming in from all different stakeholders in IT and ITS fraternity to help us understand what way we can make it more efficient. So we have a set of interesting speakers to look up to. We have with us Runa Mehta, founder and director, People Talent International. We have Mr. Srinath Guru Raja Rao, Vice President and CHRO Nextwell Group. We have with us Mr. Saurabh Shah, Head Human Resources at Capita. We have with us Mr. Anil Joseph, APAC Head of Human Resources Sutherland. We have Kashish Daya Kapoor, AVP Head of HR NEC Technologies India Private Limited. And we also have Devyani Sinha, VP Global Head of HR Nucleus Software. So before I move forward and hand over it to Runa for the deliberations, I thought it's very important that we talk little bit about the communities that we have and as well as the sponsors. So I also would like to welcome our sponsors, Cobus, the employer branding experts. We have InnoServe Solutions, the learning partners. They are the experts in the learning area. We have Orai Robotics Private Limited. They are experts in AI. In order to have engagement with academic fraternity, we could collaborate with ASMA. They are our academic community partner. Let me talk a little bit about digital HR. So we started this group some time ago, and now we are a community of 8,000 plus members. We recently launched the city chapters also, and we are getting very good, kind of deliberations happening on the WhatsApp group. And today we should be launching the Facebook and the LinkedIn group as well. So we request all of you to please join these groups, learn, engage, and network for your own good. And we continue to bring a lot of new content, innovative, discussion pointers for your digital transformation. So let me introduce our esteemed speakers of the day. We have Runa Mehta, founder and director of People Talent International. She is one of the popular consultant around. She has won several awards like Top 50 Influencer by SHRM APEC MENA 2019. She has also been recognized as 101 Woman Social Media Influencer of 2015 and 2016 as well. She is among the top 100 innovation HR leaders. And she also has tremendous experience to herself. She can be seen speaking on variety of forums in the HR fraternity. So we welcome you, Runa, and we look forward to a fantastic moderation of this evening today under your leadership. Then I take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Srinath Guru Raja Rao, Vice President and CHRO Nextwell Group. Mr. Gururaj brings a phenomenal experience to the table while he has worked with media, IT, ITS, and banking sectors. He has worked with organizations like iGate, TechM, Sri Group, and he is he is recognized as top 100 HR tech minds of 2018. He's also recognized, he has won the award top 50 organization with great people managers 2019. Welcome, Mr. Srinath. We are all looking forward to learn from the wisdom, at your end. Then I take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Saurabh Sinha. We are fortunate to have been working with Mr. Saurabh for last 4 years. Mr. Saurabh comes with close to 15 years of experience with multiple geographies like Americas, India, China, and Europe. Saurabh has worked in various industry sets, and he was recognized as 101 most fabulous HR leaders in India. Mr. Saurabh currently heads human resources at Capita, and Mr. Saurabh is going to be sharing his experience with us today. Let me introduce Mr. Anil Joseph. Mr. Anil Joseph comes with 20 years of extensive experience, multi verticals, in fact, sales, operations, human resource, people and customer relationship management, has worked with companies like Taj Group, Aviva Global, WNS Global Services, and is currently the APAC head of human resources at Sutherland. Mr. Anil is going to be talking about his experience and the ways he's handling the COVID-19 crisis at Sutherland. So we all look up to, learning from your experience, Mr. Anil. Let me introduce Kashish Daya Kapoor, AVP Head of HR, NEC Technologies. She comes with 18 years experience working in a variety of scenarios like career progression, talent development, rewards and recognition. Throughout her career, she has worked with eminent organizations like SR, Oriflame, ING Vishya, and IBM. She was the project leader at Cornell University, and she brings quite a lot of diversified experience to the table. We all look up to learning from you, Kashish. Welcome to the forum. Let me introduce Devyani Sinha, VP Global Head of HR Nucleus Software. Devyani comes with 20 plus years of experience working with organizations like TCS, Onikra, Ushacom, and NEC Technologies. Currently, she is the Global Head Human Resources at Nucleus Software. She holds extensive experience in handling benchmarking, developmental and customized projects independently. Welcome you all, and I would like to invite Runa to take the evening forward. We are all looking up to a phenomenal learning experience tonight. Over to you, Runa.
Good evening, Rahul, Ritesh and Chandan. I think it's a real pleasure to work with you all and Digital HR team. So you have been doing extremely well to give, organize such fantastic programs, learning sessions. And today you have chosen a topic which is very close to my heart, which is digital outreach in HR. And also we are all looking into how do we cope in current scenario and how we think about ourselves beyond. So looking into this scenario, in fact, I was reflecting upon, in my mind, whether all our leaders need makeover in this new normal. So in fact, we have great leaders with us, and thank you all participants who have joined us. So I would like to share with you all an EY survey, Ernst & Young report, which actually talks about COVID-19, that it will impact, for next 6 months. And in fact, the crisis is also facing organization to relook at the HR processes and operations through a digital lens. And we are talking about more than 70% of the organizations are moving to virtual methods of talent acquisition and emerging technologies. It is also right time for the HR heads to recalibrate their priorities, focus towards managing remote workforce, digitalize the HR function, and reimagine workforce models. I think our leaders who are present today, they are going to talk about a lot, from their experience, from their, current, scenario, how they are handling. And in fact, while people being homebound are coping with the full implications of the COVID-19 pandemic corporate world and thinking about the strategy to restructure and continue business with employees working remotely, is there a way to ensure employees are bonded and welcomes new colleagues, since many organizations have honored offers during this scenario and they are also onboarding new hires? How do we think technology helps to build a culture of cohesiveness, productivity, agile in such times of crisis? So I'm going to request one by one my colleagues who are here, who are HR leaders, and Rahul has already introduced them. So please share your thoughts, and I would like to request Guru Raj to begin with his thoughts. Then I'll come to each one of you with my questions and also audience questions. Over to you, Guru Raj.
Uh, Thank you, Rona. Thank you so much, and thank Digital HR for bringing all of us together. What we have seen, I think this is a very apt, session to discuss digital outreach. What COVID has done to all of us is the earlier pre-COVID scenario only projected 15 to 30% of gig work, right? So COVID, being the black swan it was, enabled and turned around that entire table, and it made each employee into a virtual office. Right today, if we look at it, those who continue to operate, continue to work, have each of their homes converted into virtual offices, and work is being carried out. If we just go back and reflect on C.K. Prahalad, the management don, who wrote in 2008 that the world would witness n equals 1 and r equals g, just to break it and make it easier for you, where he said n is that individual employee who would contribute, and resources are representing a global outlook. So we are currently experiencing that in full force. So how does digital outreach of our organizational capability reach to that one individual, bring about that empathy, trust, the whole environment that one could experience in an office setup, to be able to bring it to each of their homes and still be able to bond, bind, and also contribute to the overall organization's focus and successes. So this is what has transformed, and as HR, it is primarily very important for us to be able to connect. So this has been enabled by the employment and deployment of the tools that are available. The digital tool, so to say, has helped us cope up and bridge that gap and drive home authenticity, drive home that trustworthiness, and drive home that ability to reach, connect, and also influence our workforces to be able to get aligned and see the larger picture. Without the digital structure, digital platforms, I don't think it would have been possible. And that has, what was a want earlier is now a need, a necessity, without which one cannot at least imagine some aspects of businesses, verticals in terms of ITES working about. Traditional industries, so to say, still can manage in a physical structure, but digital employment here in the ITES scenario is completely now driven and value created by a digital platforms. I think I'll end that my bit on that, Rona.
Totally agree, Guru Raj. Nothing tests human and business more than the unprecedented crisis. I think you have rightly quoted C.K. Prahalad, our Guru, and we have learned so much from him. So I would like to go to Devyani and request her to share her thoughts for towards this fantastic topic we are going to discuss today.
Thank you, Runa. Thank you, Guru Raj. So, first of all, this is an excellent platform to talk, to connect for this extraordinary situation where we are today because of the COVID. Now, when we talk about business in this extraordinary time, how did we prepare our workforce and especially the managers and the business to deal with this situation? So if I go back to the past, we let's talk about March, which is third week or fourth week of March. That is the time when we started, before the government declared the Janta curfew, we started with the business continuity plan, and we already were in the process of doing the pilot for work from home for 100% workforce. That is the time when we also learned that the work from home, which we think is the right of today's workforce, but at the same time, when we all go for work from home at the same time, what kind of challenges we can face. And that is the time when typically the line managers came back to us and said that we are not able to connect, we are not able to see. If we are not able to see, we are not able to understand. We are not able to understand that whether if I'm allocating a task to a particular person, whether he's acknowledging it, is not acknowledging. And that is the time when we also realize that we have to do much more than just doing work from home. With this business continuity plan and working from home, we started about the engagement plan for managers, which is specifically the mid-level managers. We also started with the evaluation of the productivity during the work from home. And that is a time when the government also declared 100% kind of a work from home. When we talk about our mid-level managers, who are basically the techies, who are the gig people, for them, engaging with people offline is something very rare. They generally love to talk about technology. They generally love to talk about the work which is allocated. And they generally like to talk about work which is done and not done. Now, in this virtual scenario, when we ask them whether you are engaged with your team or not, the expressions were very different. We have to come into a picture at that point of time, and we have to guide them, help them in terms of doing a daily stand-ups, where it is a kind of definitely a stock taking of every day, but at the same time also to understand what is happening with the team. Secondly, we also released an SOP, which is a standard operating procedure, which talks about you have to check the well-being of each team member in your team. When I say you have to check the well-being, that doesn't mean you have to go and ask that whether you have fever or not. But yes, overall, you're in touch with the team, understanding that yes, how are they doing, whether anybody in their home is unwell or not, or something of those sorts. And these which we have made it as a standard procedure, which is mandatory. We used to start taking the stock of it every second day, and we start helping them if they are getting stuck anywhere, which is the mid-level managers. Also, we created a forum which we call a managers meet forum, which is specifically created to understand the bottlenecks which they are facing in this difficult scenario to get the work done, as well as getting in touch with the team members. All the mid-level managers, they came in, it's a kind of a forum which is a digital forum, or a kind of a VC kind of a forum, where they come in touch with us as an HR people. They share their challenges, and we together try to solve it. If not solve it, at least try to address it for that point of time, and to move forward, how to go ahead with this. This is where we are today. We are also trying to think and move forward tomorrow when we open up. How is the scenario? What is the scenario which is going to happen? Is the engagement is going to improve? Is the engagement is going to deteriorate? And we are also coming out certain initiatives about it, which is definitely in the digital platform, because we don't see anything in another 6 months where we can do a get together kind of a thing, or where we can meet each other. So this is where we are right now. So past we have done the BCP with the help of the digital platform. Currently, we are helping the line managers and the business wherever we are able to, with calls, with VCs, with the platform like Microsoft Teams, with the platform like WebEx, Zoom, and we are coming out with different and innovative forums where we can see that how we as an HR person will be a great help to them. For the future, we are also coming out with new forums where we can help them to make people more engaged and more productive. That is what from my side.
Excellent, Devyani. So many methods you have, ideated to ensure that your employees are alive, they're kicking, the bond is there. I think amazing experience sharing, and I think I'm also reflecting on the fact that how initial priorities of an organization in terms of automation, IT infrastructure, basic communication, and operational support are now fading into the background as priorities, and new era is emerging. So with that thought, I will go to Anil Joseph, and request that how in your industry, which is more into global scenario, and in fact, all of you are from global platform, but I think you are dealing absolutely 24/7. So Anil, please share your thoughts.
Sure. Hi, Runa. I hope I'm audible. Good evening, friends. At the outset, I hope everybody and their families are safe and in good health at this time. And I hope everybody is using one of these masks and sanitizers whenever you're stepping out of home, because that's the most important thing right now. So, when we talk about the COVID situation and how everybody is coping, there's no hiding the fact that the current times have been quite stressful for many of us. The situation has really transformed the way we live to a great extent. And we all know that adaptability is the greatest asset in a human being, and we've adapted quite well in these times. So how does an organization cope with the current challenge will determine if they are going to be successful in times to come. And employees and all of us, if we are able to sustain and cope with that pressure, let me put it pressure in the positive way, we will be successful and we will emerge winners in our careers going forward. Most of the industries, as all of us are aware, has they've been badly affected, but there are some industries who've taken the opportunity to step up and come to a new normal. Now, I belong to an industry which is IT and IT services. We've taken this opportunity to gather further momentum to serve our customers, and many of us are looking, at how we can make our employees productive at all times, and 100% of our employees productive at all times. Sorry, there was an interruption. Runa, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you now, but in between there was, the sound went blank. So I was wondering whether I heard it right.
Okay. I don't know where you lost me. I was saying that we have established work at home for most of our employees, and this I'm sure is the case with most of the BPM and IT companies as well. And that is the new normal.
Can others hear me? Digital HR team?
Yes, Runa, I think we can take Mr. Anil once again in the last. You may
Exactly.
move with another speaker
So,
right now.
that's what I wanted to. We can share that on the chat. So from Anil, I think is still not able to reflect on our conversation. So we'll go back to Anil, my dear audience, and I would now also consider what Anil was speaking about in terms of how this fourth industrial revolution led by AI had helped us to restructure industries globally. So what we're saying, care must be taken that inequalities in developing economies are not, aggravated in this process. With that thought, I will go to Kashish, and would like to request Kashish to share her thought process on the topic.
Right. Thanks, Runa. It's so for, how I've seen the last close to 3 months pan out. We are in the midst of challenging times, but it's also been personally, when I look at it, it's also been a great opportunity to see how the inept and in-depth capability that humans have to adapt and to stretch and to reinvent themselves. And I think there is where our DNA and our gene of innovation lies. And this COVID crisis has just brought that to the forefront in so many ways. I remember a situation when we went into a 70% lockdown, 70% work from home from an organization that did not have a formal work from home policy. And we did have it as a practice, but it was not a policy. So 70% workforce work from home, to 100% workforce work from home in 3 days, unimaginable. I've talked about this earlier also, that, had we started creating a work from home policy in a normal scenario, it would have taken 6 months to 9 months. If I am to be extremely ambitious and aggressive on my target. But here, because there was a situation, we all adapted. We realized the depth and the spine of our organization through a 20-year-old legacy that we have at NEC. A lot of things that we inherit and we talk about and embed in our behaviors in terms of our values was, I think, one of the core guiding factors of us having been able to use the crisis to transform as HR, as an organization, into a completely digital workspace, from having multiple meeting rooms and trying to block meeting calendars and room spaces, to getting into a completely virtual workspace. Nothing changed. I think that was the only shift that happened. If I look back in retrospect, there is nothing that has changed. There have been newer inventions. Our automation has increased. The number of tools that have come in have increased multifold. The way we evaluate and look at our business models has undergone a dramatic change, but that is something that we were anyway striving for in terms of our transformation journey. So there's far more agility today. So on the other hand, have I lost the human and the human touch and my impact? And I do hear a Sundar Pichoi and a Satya Nadella today talking about, yes, this is not a situation that can persist for long. But have I really actually, and I question myself, have I lost my human element as HR? No, I have not. Because today I connect more proactively with employees. Employee safety and health has always been my focal point. But today I am far more finicky about how I deal with it. I tell my employees many times in various platforms that please stay informed and keep us informed always. We are there for you round the clock. If you need any support, you're not getting essentials, let us know, we'll figure it out for you. But we are in partnership with you and we'll do this together. So that is where we've elevated. I also remember, about 4 or 5 years back, and I'm sure Runa would also be privy to and would have been a part of many discussions where we spoke about machines taking over and humans not being, becoming redundant, and how much of our workforce is going to go away. I think the whole conversation and dialogue has changed completely with this. It's the marriage between machines and humans is far, far more evident today. We've both complemented and enabled each other in these spaces. So it's been a very, very quick, very dramatic shift, but all I see is a lot of positivity coming out of it. There is a higher productivity, there is a higher utilization, there is a higher commitment from employees. We've gone out as an organization and we've not done any salary cuts or pay cuts. We've supported our employees through this. We've not rolled back any of our offers. We've honored all the offers that we rolled out. We still continue to hire in case of a business need or a criticality. So we are looking at the whole ecosystem from a very long-term perspective. It is nothing which is, there with me for 3 months or 4 months, which I have to, somehow tide over and live the next quarter or the next year. It is there to stay. Today, my conversation has changed as HR. I say we encourage you to work from home. There is a new norm set of guidelines. There are today virtual onboardings and offboardings. There are virtual recognitions that are, team recognitions and team bonding exercises that are happening. So I think it's just moved from a meeting, from a physical office space to a meeting room. Everything else remains the same with a higher level of agility and connect.
Amazing. Thank you, Kashish. And I've also started reflecting on the conversation we had with Saurav. And we did talk about something related to transformational journey, engagement of people, learning and development scenarios, many such initiatives Saurav has taken in his organization. So we would like to hear from you, Saurav, about all the, personnel, HR, technology, how we have wired them and made sure that what Kashish was talking about, there should be a long-term solution, and we should look for some plan for future. I think you are the one who can throw some light on that.
Sure. Thanks, Runa. Thanks, Kashish, and thank you to Digital HR for providing this platform. Where, as I said before, it's amazing to hear the stalwarts speak about their experience and speak about how they have gone adjusting themselves and their organization to the new normal. I think from my perspective and the organization I represent, we've got three important elements, which probably is the same for everybody. That is people, process, and technology. And Runa, you mentioned about Industry 4.0, and we were talking about, okay, these many years might be required to get into Industry 4.0. And one sudden morning, we are actually into Industry 4.0, where we have to use the entire digital technology or the technology world to enable whatever we have to do from a people perspective. So for me, this is entering into Industry 4.0 without any notice, and entering in a scenario where probably we never experienced this before. I mean, at least our generation has not experienced something like this. So from the organizational standpoint and from my standpoint, it was really how do you tackle the current situation by marrying these three aspects. That is, how do you create a process for your people using the technology? And right from what Kashish mentioned about a virtual onboarding to a virtual offboarding, I think as an organization, we also went ahead and then made sure that the offers are honored. There are no real implications from a people perspective. If we have anybody who is sitting on bench at the moment, we look at reskilling them. So that was really the challenge which we took up. And I think from an engagement perspective, it was more of a holistic approach. Where there were few elements which we decided that we would focus on. First was connect. How do you establish connect and genuine connect with your people? And obviously there has to be a background to this connect of the past. You just can't start connecting with your employees now because you're in the pandemic situation. But how do you establish a regular connect with your employees? So what did we do? We looked at the entire segmentation of our colleagues, trying to understand who is staying alone, who is staying with family, who is staying within the city, who is staying outside the city. So establish those connect sessions with the leadership team as well as with the HR VPs. Look at the fun element. How do you have the fun element driven by the HR team, the central employee engagement team, as well as people managers. I mean, as recent as this morning, I was talking to my people managers, 75 of them across the board. And I was telling them that don't you feel that you've become like a kid, who is now, more keen to also drive fun events along with your colleagues, and it's become a normal. It's not that we have to force ourselves into doing that. So that's one aspect into the entire connect. The second bit was how do you look at the entire well-being approach? And again, well-being has to be very, very holistic, where you talk about your physical well-being, your emotional well-being, your financial well-being. All these three aspects should be made available. So we got doctors onboarded to conduct webinars, to have Q&A sessions. We had a counselor coming on, to answer questions available all the days in the week. And then you also have financial experts to come and talk about how do you manage your funds in such a crisis situation. How do you go about, investment? How do you go about, your expense management? So all of that was really looked into from a well-being perspective. And of course, the bit around learning. How do you enable learning as a normal and look at the avenues which your partners are sharing with you, where people would really participate in these webinars. Look at, so we created a bite-sized learning program where our employees participated into virtual webinars for our employees. And we ran close to 70, 80 webinars for our employees by our employees. And then, over the last, say, 10 to 12 weeks. And of course, now getting into the new normal, how we look at virtual intervention as something which we'll go with. Last week we conducted an Agile boot camp, completely virtual. So I think those were aspects, Runa, which we went about. I think one of the critical aspects of this entire engagement was the response from our colleagues across the board. And I can sit back and feel that the connect and the bond which is now established is beyond comprehension and beyond words. And I think this is going to go in the long run, not only in creating a bond between the leadership team, the organization, and the employees. It's going to be a bond which is going to be much beyond that, which is going to drive drive a lot of positive behaviors within the organization. And I think from that perspective, I would say that, and it goes with that cycle which talks about, your satisfied employees would be engaged. Your engaged employees would work more, and if your employees are working more, they would be more productive. So I think that was our approach when it comes to people engagement and really, looking after our people.
Excellent, and we were pretty much aware that your intervention on various facets and bringing in a new dimension really is helping the best practices are being shared by you. I think I'm really tempted to go back to Anil after listening to you and learning from your experience. And if Anil missed out any particular point which you wanted to share before I start our question answer, and in fact I have few questions, but I can see loads of questions coming from the audience, so I will keep touching upon those questions and also some of the questions we have received before our today's sessions. So Anil, are you wanting to share a couple of points from your end?
So Runa, I'm not sure what happened with my connection. Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear. Please
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was talking about the challenges that we as an industry, the BPM industry, faced while we were tackling the COVID situation in the last couple of months. But then I have to admit that the resilience and the determination of all of our employees and the collective leadership of everybody that we have within our organizations helped us in managing the situation. And we are able to get at least 70 to 80% of our employees to be productive working from home. Now, I'm sure you understand that our industry is such that you cannot have a lot of our frontline employees working from home because of data security issues. And that's the fundamental aspect why we have to operate in SEZs, special economic zones, and in secure environments. But then during the last 2 months, we've realized that clients have been immensely supportive because it involved health and safety of our employees, and they agreed to help run our processes in a remote environment. And that really gave us room for experimenting what otherwise would have never been possible. My co-panelists talked about how human resources and delivery leaders have stepped up their game in the last 2 months to engage and to drive productivity on all fronts. And this is no different for our organization as well. We've maintained status quo in terms of engagement, in terms of monitoring of how productivity has to be, as expected as earlier, and continued with rewards and recognition, connect with leaders, town halls, and all of those aspects. We haven't stopped. And that's what I wanted to share just as a context, Runa.
Thank you, Anil. We would have missed out if we had not gone back to you to ensure we recover from the conversation we had, and we completely agree. The engagement of people with focus growth, with many such initiatives, and also ensuring productivity is so important. So I have first questions for Guru Raj, and you mentioned about innovation. So I would like to reflect upon that and ask you a very simple question. That we had developed significant course of action to manage VUCA, right? So, so VUCA world is something which we had been managing with the advent of new technology, where we're talking about AI, ML, AR, VR all the time. So how innovation played a role in this journey in an organization? So we would you like to throw some more light on that?
Absolutely, Runa. Fantastic contextual question. When we looked at the current situation and how we transform from a previous COVID state to the current state and what holds for the future, innovation which was forced is pretty visible. It underlines the entire gamut of transformation that has taken place. Why I say it is forced, it is because it was typically a black swan event with a heads up of 1 month where the infection broke out in Wuhan in China. So businesses had to literally reinvent the way we did businesses, employees, how they worked and what they worked on, and what was enabled. Couple of things stood out for us as a group. What we did was, how do you sustain the current scenario and extend it into a future where this possibility of continuance might exist until a vaccine is found, or it might extend beyond that. So as a business house, we deal with a lot of public and non-public information. So at least for the public information, the information security protocols that were demanded by the clients were not very stringent. As Anil also put out, that there is a lot of information security that is governed with the data that we have. So we went back to the clients and we said, how do we sustain this for a certain future so that we tackle together and also deliver on excellence that we have promised by also working from home. So we went back to clients, each client after client, we are a third party provider, and client after client, we negotiated the business contracts, and we have now a solid tangible view of a future where we are sure of how we continue in a present state and extend the digital outreach. Now, when we say digital outreach, again, the main theme is to enable that human aspect, human element, human touch to the employees one-to-one, because they are now far and spread and also demand the same kind of attention, governance, outreach, the human elements of it to be able to present it. So we conceived our programs in HR to be able to go reach out to them, showcase what we are doing, and also make them as a partner in the business of change and how they are at the center of it. All these while where we were working in offices, the employer drove the controls and the governance mechanism. Now it is the demand of the employee who will put up that infrastructure, right from home. So it's a partnership truly that is transforming the landscape, where the employee and the employer will work in hand to put up a structure where the client is comfortable and they partner equally. So in a sense, it is employees, associates, the investors, and also the society at large that is going to benefit from the entire outreach. And this entire thing will be enabled with a digital thread underlining very, very strongly. And what we choose, how we choose, and how we deliver that will redefine in the days to come. And I'm sure that is going to bring a lot of excitement to us as HR folks to be able to play a center stage, because now the human element is right at the center.
Well said, Guru Raj. And I remember we did talk about how you are coping with your Kolkata region, on AMF, and I have a question on that for you. So, but I would also reflect upon what you just mentioned about human touch, ensuring one-on-one conversation, and engaging people. Thank you for sharing your, total engagement, total, scenario, and how you are coping and how you are progressing. I think brilliant. So I'll come back to you with more questions. So sure. I'll go to Devyani now, and Devyani, just connecting with the thoughts of Guru Raj. Let's also hear from you. How to decide on what to learn and what to unlearn to engage and retain employees. Please share your thoughts how HR assisted the line managers to cope with COVID-19 and beyond in your organization.
Okay, so very interesting question, what to learn and what to unlearn. As we are a tech organization, we are purely into IT product. Most of the workforce, which is our 90%, 95% workforce, are techies. They are pure hardcore, either developers, testers, project leads, etc., etc. They are hardcore tech people. For tech people, connecting with employee is very black and white. For us, for HR, there is something called gray. But for techies, it is plain and simple black and white. Yes, yes, no, no. There is nothing in between yes or no. So for them, first of all, we have to reach out to them to tell them that once that person is not in front of you, you have to unlearn the way you used to treat him or her. When I say treat him or her, the way you used to communicate. So here an effective communication comes very handy. So also we got a I'll treat this as a compliment from one of our techie, whom in the good days we used to almost push them to go for a communication training, and they used to come back to us and tell us, ma'am, we are the developers, what do we do with the communication training? We are not supposed to communicate. In the sense, we are not supposed to, communication is not that hardcore skill for us. Now the same people are coming back to us and telling us now we can understand the importance of communication, because day in and day out, if I am not able to communicate properly to my team members or to my managers, it is just creating havoc. At the same time, we are also requesting people, managers, to learn. Sensitivity was also there prior, but sensitivity towards the voice modulation. So once you're in a call, you're not able to see the person, you're not able to see the reaction or the happiness or the anger on the feelings on the face of the person, the body language. You also have to start sensing it from the voice. If you're into a VC, the things are much better, so on and so forth. Also, please ask questions as much as possible. This is not only applicable to the techies, this is applicable to we also as an HR person and for all the departments. Because I can see in last 2 months, there are a lot of gaps which are just coming because people are not asking, they're assuming. And the moment they're assuming, because that's the way we used to operate. And when we are in office and we are assuming, there is a chance that if something goes wrong, we will go back to the desk of that person and ask what happened to this. But right now, we have to fix a calendar. Even if we are calling, the call may be busy. If we are fixing a WebEx, the calendar may be blocked. So whenever we are getting a chance, we have to talk extremely clearly and ask questions. So these are the two very, very important things which we help people to unlearn and again learn in terms of clear communication, which is a need for every hour. But at this point of time, probably it becomes the thumb rule for all of us, and to be a little sensitive towards the voice, the modulation, how the person is talking, and so on and so forth.
I think empathy and sensitivity is very important, Devyani rightly said. And I have lots of questions from my previous collection of questions with help of digital HR, but I can see loads have also come in. So I'm pretty much tempted to ask all of you, and now from Devyani, I'm going to Anil with my next question, which has come to somebody who has not written his name. And it's a very interesting question. So I'm dropping a couple of my own set of questions and coming to audience question. So first one, I'm reading what tools and features CHRO are looking at to enable more engagement through digital channels. I think Anil, you are the right person to answer that. So I'm giving this baton to you. Okay, so I'll come to Anil with the next question. But since it's a very interesting question, Kashish, would you like to respond on this? That what tools and features CHROs are looking for to enable more engagement through digital channels? Digital HR technology team, are we fine? Are we all able to hear each other?
Yes, we are. I'm able to hear you, Runa.
Interesting.
Yeah, Runa, I'm able to hear you as well.
Sorry?
Sort of here. I'm able to hear you as well.
Okay, bye. I think there is some glitches we are facing with connecting to our other, Saurabh, are you there?
Yes, Runa, I'm there.
So I think I'm not able to connect with Anil and Kashish. So Saurabh, would you like to respond on these questions? It's a very interesting question by somebody wrote personify. He or she has not shared, her or his name. So, but the question is a good one. So why don't you respond, Saurabh?
Sure. So I think from a CHRO perspective, the tools which we would need to drive engagement. I mean, the tool can be any, but the basic of the tool should be that the ease of connectivity. And when I say ease of connectivity, it should be available on our laptops, on our desktops, on our smartphones. So that ease of connectivity is something which is the requirement of a tool. Second, I would say is the user-friendly approach or user-friendly features within the tool, which are very much required, where we could run engagement initiative. I mean, it could be a poll, it could be a well-being initiative, it could be a connect session, it could be a fun and frolic session. I think user-friendly feature is another aspect of the tool. I think that the third aspect, which is very, very important when I use a tool, is what is the kind of data or what is the kind of information which comes back to me as the head of the function to look at the analysis of the data. I mean, what is the information which is getting gathered? Because while the tool can have all the beautiful functionalities of ease of use, friendly, very tech savvy, but if it is not able to provide me with the data which is required, in terms of connectivity, in terms of participation, in terms of effectiveness, I think any tool which has these functionalities would be of use. It could be a tool to onboard our people. It could be a tool to run the entire engagement initiative. It could be a tool to basically look at hiring our people. I mean, at my organization, we have moved to a complete Workday solution from our employee perspective. And so these are just tools which are available, but I think I would stress more on the functionality of the tool and look at how it would benefit us as CHROs to take a decision, and of course the team, how do they get the benefit of driving the initiatives using these tools. That would be my take on what tools would be used.
Fantastic, thank you. I hope our audience got a very an answer which is apt. I'm also reading somebody's very interesting question from entrepreneurial side. So Ninad Dani has asked a question, and Gururaj, I will request you to take it. How should the new entrepreneurs and post-COVID startups and business should approach resource management and CRMs?
I think excellent question. Resource management, at the heart of it, is not to manage but to delight. How do we produce delight with what we have? I think there again I want to stress upon, be it an entrepreneur, be it a well-established organization, the connect, the trust, the authenticity of engagement defines what we do and how successful we are. So tool is just a medium through which we approach. From an entrepreneurial perspective, yes, the ratio of employee to the employer and the tools are less compared to a large established organization. So the connect has to be much better. Connect has to be much more solid in terms of sustaining a resilient workforce to be able to drive through the challenges in establishing themselves and journeying ahead. Though it appears all the soft factors, I would like to quote Tom Peters, the Red Bull of management here, who says soft is hard, hard is soft. I think it cannot be more truer now than at any point of time. So be it any setting that you are in, it is the communication that connects and binds and journeys ahead. So once we get that right at a leadership level, be it an entrepreneur or otherwise, the journeys will surely be momentous. I hope I answered his question.
Definitely, and I closely work. Yeah, thank you, Gururaj. And I closely work with startups, and we completely agree that their resilience is important. And in fact, my response normally would be COVID, no COVID. I think they are always dealing with ambiguity. When we talked about, you and I just discussed about VUCA world, and I think they are facing, and they have the right, agility and attitude and robustness. Because of which they are able to sustain, even sometimes they don't get fund. I mean, at the right time to grow their organization, and they might be requiring certain resources which is not possible for them to procure. They are facing definitely challenges and definitely this scenario was not envisaged by any of us. So it added to that roughness and toughness. So thank you, Guru Raj, for responding on that question. And for Devyani, I have very interesting question from a young leader. And I'm assuming this question is from a very young person as well, because Deepak from our audience is asking, what different different challenges exist for young generation as compared to older generation?
Okay. So the challenges to some extent remain same. To some extent, it is very, very different. For example, when I talk about this generation or a younger generation, we assume in our office also that people who are bachelors, who are staying alone, probably in a PG or a kind of their own accommodation, a one-room accommodation, they are facing a lot of challenge. When I say they are facing a lot of challenge, it is not only from the perspective of work, productivity, or not from the perspective of household, but also from the perspective of there is nobody to talk. The entire day when they are working, they are facing a wall. So that itself is giving them anxiety, a lot of anxiety. One, they are not used to of sitting at home for so long hours. Even if when they're in college or when they join the organization, they are used to of, let's say for example, every 2 hours or 3 hours, some chit chat, a walk for 2 minutes, or just a stroll in the aisle area or something of that sort in the floor. But right now it is not being possible. They're only connected through phone. That's one of the major problem, because of which one of our esteemed panelists also talked about the wellness coach, which is required so much at this hour. That's number one. Second, for the younger members, the second challenge which they're facing is many of them are coming from either they have stayed in a hostel or they have stayed with their parents for the first time. They're out and they're staying in a PG or a flat. They don't know how to cook. That is adding to an extra anxiety on them, because there is a work schedule. So probably there is a 9 to 6 work schedule. Before 9, they have to be ready with the breakfast. There is an X time when they have to be with their lunch. They are not able to tell their IOs or their managers that this is my lunch hour, I will not able to take calls. Those kind of things and are creating a lot of pressure among the freshers, not only freshers, the young generation. Third is also they are not able to go out, not able to watch movies, not able to participate in concerts, not able to go out to the malls, not able to meet their friends. Altogether, the entire thing is, and there are cases with us which is creating a lot of, it is almost reached to a threshold level of where they need some help. We as an HR people are continuously in touch with them. We are talking to them. We are requesting, and the IOs and the reporting manager are also in touch with them. Their friends are in touch with them, but I think we will not able to pull it for a very long time. The social, the nature of our social nature will definitely today, tomorrow, or someday, it is going to take a toll on, especially the younger population. At least the older population or people like us are staying with families. So these are the challenges which the younger population are facing. But as far as productivity is concerned, it has increased for them because they are only working from day to night. There is no time for them. They become more responsible. They become more responsive. They're coming on all the meetings because that is only right now with them as a part of their everyday life. So that's a good part. But yes, sustenance is a big question.
To respond on this particular question. At the same time, I have Saurabh, I have a very, very interesting question for you, because you are one of the propagator of learning and learning management. You had been doing a lot of good work in this scenario. So the next question is for you, Saurabh, that companies don't have the latest learning management system to implement, especially for academia, for teachers. And it might be the case for corporate as well. So how an organization, should be directed to overcome this challenge?
So thanks, Runa. If I understand it well, is the question related to a learning management system being in place or an approach being in place? Because again, from a learning management system being in place, again, I related back to a tool being available, and I think a best fit tool as per the organization need could be looked at. But then if it is to do with the approach, I would think that learning is an avenue which has to be made available for our colleagues, our employees, on the go. And that is what is very, very important. So I think from a learning perspective, one of the important elements which probably has been a learning in the last, I would say, 12 weeks is how do you create different avenues for different people to learn? I mean, how do you have your technical trainings going on? How do you have your behavioral trainings going on? How do you encourage people to attend webinars which are being made available by partners like InnoServe and many other of those? So within my organization, I had close to 1,300 people attending webinars hosted by different learning partners, as well as partners like Harvard Business School, Udemy, LinkedIn, and all of that. So how do you keep constantly communicating about these avenues being available? The second aspect is the certification. I mean, a lot of the certifications are already online. I mean, especially in the technology space. We have looked at how do we encourage the certifications being done by employees. We've put a policy around the reimbursement and gone ahead with that. The third aspect is really look at the behavioral or the soft skill intervention. How do you offer those as a platform to the individuals? Furthermore, what we have also done is, while Workday is our learning management system, but then we've used Microsoft SharePoint to create a repository of all this information. I mean, any webinar, any well-being session, any connect session, that gets recorded and that gets stored in the SharePoint site. So what happens because of this is an employee is able to access this plethora of information at any given point of time. So I think there could be intermittent solutions which would be available even if a full-fledged learning management system is not available. I think the approach, the focus, and a plan to tackle learning is required than only focusing on a learning management system.
Absolutely, I think it is always necessity is the mother of invention. So even if organizations do not have LMS for their learning platform, how fantastic when you talked about how people can actually look at deploying their people, making a choice of list of webinars and allocating them, and also enabling them to use the loads of learning happening through not only Coursera or Udemy kind of platform. There are now loads of them come up, new ones, and they're offering a lot of good courses. Thank you, Saurabh, for throwing that light, and I think our audience has learned a lot. So Anil, I have very very interesting question, and I'm sure being in a 24/7 BPM scenario, you deal with it all the time. So Anil, there is a question for you. I wanted to acknowledge before I read the question. Okay, so I can't hear you. So I'm giving this question to Guru Raj. Mamta is asking Guru Raj that when we are talking about digital employee engagement, my question is how to manage the emotions of the employees. Very, very, interesting one. We are all HR people, so I think that's very close to our heart. So, Guru Raj, your response.
Yeah, I think simply put, emotions are managed well with the ears rather than the mouth. So, when we listen to them, I think when we share our ears, our hearts automatically connect. Most emotional outbursts needs an ear, empathetic ear. So I think when we practice that truly, we do manage. But however, emotional intelligence is one awareness that as organizations need to consciously drive at organizations, because each individual is diverse, cognitively different. Each individual comes with their own set of aspirations and capabilities. To be able to marry that, align that to a larger context and vision, it needs a lot of work. Soft skills is a primary mandate in especially a virtual world, which we are going to witness more and more. Therefore, managing emotional intelligence and creating an awareness. Yes, if I get angry, I know that I get angry in these circumstances. That awareness has to be kindled and molded, so to say. So programs which cater to these in terms of learning definitely helps the employee understand how emotional scenario needs to be tackled. But as I say, the underlying factor is more ears and less of talk.
Thank you. That was very crisp and to the point answer. And I'm just reading question from Yogesh. Your question from virtual meeting has been responded by Saurabh, and Garima, your question on engagement level has been responded by Devyani. So we are covering our quite common points from the audience. But there is a very interesting question by Achal. So I'm going to ask this question to Devyani. In order to build a digital workforce, do you think we need internal communication application as well, besides HRMS tools? How would you, manage your internal comm strategy for people, HR priorities, all that priorities you have in such times? So her question is more on our ability to manage internal communication for employees.
Okay, so communication is one of the integral part of HR. And why only HR? It is one of the very integral part of the entire business. When it comes to employee communication, yes, the internal communication is very much required. The standardization of the communication, the intent of the communication, and the way the communication is formed, the footfall and the reading of number of audience who's reading that communication, it all depends on the way the communication is being formed. Also, there are organizations who faces a challenge when there is no communication tool, which is an overloading of emails. So for example, in one day or in a week, there are some communication or broadcasts which need to go from HR, from admin, from infrastructure, from let's say three, four more departments. And there is no proper communication tool. Because of that, it is being broadcast through email, which is coming from the respective department. And what happens at the end of the day is that the urgent and the very important communication get lost in those emails. So as the question, if I understood the question correctly, that it is asking about the importance of the communication tool. Am I right, Runa? Okay. So I hope I'm able to answer your question that it is very, very important, and if it is not there in the long run, we are going to lose the essence of HR communication or any other, the organization or the business communication in the folder of in the burden of the emails which we get on a day-to-day basis. I hope I'm able to answer the question.
Absolutely, and I'm definitely these are my learning too, Devyani. Loads of things. Thank you all speakers. I'm learning, but I have many questions for you, and I'm also looking at watch so that we are able to take as many as possible before we conclude at 6:30. So Anil, I have a question for you, and this is by Shankha Chaudhary. Digitally, how to create an employee appreciation and reward and motivation, especially for blue collar people working in ground level. I think even if many of us are not dealing with blue collar, but we have in our past experience dealt with them. So let's reflect upon that. And Anil, would you like to respond on that?
Sure, Runa. I'm sorry for my internet connectivity issues. So whether blue collar or white collar, it really doesn't matter. Reward and recognition is a philosophy that you've got to find opportunities for people doing the right thing and reward them. And this is what most progressive organizations are following today. It doesn't really matter if we are looking at a reward strategy for factory workers as compared to somebody who's working in an office environment. So the essence is find as many opportunities for people to feel recognized and use the tools that are available in the organization. So I can take my organization, for example. Unfortunately, we do not have anybody working in factories, so we are only talking about people working in offices. But doing anything on email is not really sustainable and it's not really effective, as all of you understand. So after emails are sent, we've got to follow it up with multiple channels of communication and ensure that there is a hype built around the rewards and recognition. Now, coming specifically to how we can engage blue collar workers, people who are on the ground, look at units of work and see what the productivity and quality outputs are, and look at how we can streamline those aspects of performance and narrow it down to a reward strategy. And this can be done very well at regular intervals, so that people don't think that this is a one-off activity and it is a part of the organization's philosophy for R&R.
Thank you, Anil, and we missed you for some time, but I think your response is very beneficial for our audience. Sort of a quick one for you, very interesting question by Vidhu Sharma, and it should be a very crisp response from us. Do we think that we will shift to BYOD, bring your own device model, if we continue with work from home?
I think yes, a lot of organizations are evaluating this as an avenue, and in fact, I have seen a lot of places going with this BYOD for smaller assets as well. I mean, instead of waiting for IT to deliver a laptop, a keyboard, a mouse, a headphone, etc. We've actually told our people that if anything is available locally, go for it. We'll reimburse that. So I think the entire approach is going to change, and BYOD will be looked at as an avenue. But then of course restrictions from client, customer, internal information security, all of that will be into place. But yes, I mean, to answer you, yes, that would be an avenue which will be looked at to ease convenience and for the convenience and to ease out the burden on the IT teams.
Thanks, Saurabh. And Anil, since we missed you for some time, so next question again coming back to you. And it's very interesting one from Tina Singh. So what digital skills would HR team members require post-pandemic as an outcome of learning from COVID-19 experience of an organization? So it is for HR to acquire skills. So Anil, over to you.
Sure. So Runa, I think HR has got the best in our lifetime opportunity to embrace technology and digital and utilize simple automation, mobile analytics, and if possible, if the organization is into RPA, meaning robotics process automation, and to look at what processes can be optimized and can be made better for our employees. The concept has got to be make it faster, simpler, and better, right? And that's what people should be looking at. Now, I was reading something on LinkedIn, and I realized that 18%, that's what the LinkedIn survey says, that only 18% of human resource professionals currently have the technology or analytic skills to get to the 21st century. Now, it's no secret, right, that data and digitization and analytics are becoming very, very crucial for HR. So what we've got to do is first understand what digital means. Now, digital is the ability to look at process, and any process for that matter, and see how with the use of simple automation technology, make it better, faster, and simpler for our internal customers, which is our employees. And if we are able to do that with the available resources that are, that are there in the organization, then you've got a step closer to becoming and adopting digital. That's number one. Second, there are three aspects for HR. One is the customer experience of HR, and this I read somewhere. I'm sure most of you have read this as well. How does HR be perceived as offering a better experience for our customers, and our customers are internal stakeholders. The second one is, how do we narrow the skill gap?
Right, Anil. So I think we lost a last part, and we'll again come back to you. And Guru Raj, I have a very similar line which Anil was discussing about HR to have skills, and Ashraf Qazi has questioned a very interesting one again for HR. Considering majority aspects of HR delivery going digital now, is there an opportunity of altogether new roles getting defined in HR teams? If yes, then which key HR skills are this or it could be? So if you can respond on the same line.
Oh yes, definitely the roles are going to be redefined, because now we have one HR. If you go by traditional ratio to employee ratio to HR service roles, it used to be 1:50, 1:75, 1:100. Now we have 1:X number of employees at their own places. So roles are going to be multiplied, and to be able to do that, you need a digital enablement for sure. What was fancy earlier is a necessity now. I reiterate that point. What roles specifically will get redefined is the ability to socialize well in a virtual environment and be able to be authentically deliver value to the employee, connect. Now, what was great place to work now is redefined or will get redefined as great way to work. Now, that way is going to be defined by the HR ability to construct, help innovate, help fulfill the aspirations of end employee. Those end goals pretty much would remain the same, but how we do it on a virtual environment is what is going to get redefined. There are a couple of examples I want to quote. Earlier, we used to have a traditional approach to recruitment, where when we had to assess talent, evaluate them, go through the interview rounds and stuff. But today you find in 11 minutes, playing 12 games, you could end-to-end assess a person's capability, right? So that's the kind of gamification that the digital world has enabled. So I think roles pretty much would be one of understanding human endeavor and be able to expand that, help amplify that, and influence your employees to be able to do better, faster, deliver value, find opportunities, help them in their journeys. That is what the HR role should typically be, and that is what it is going to be. The traditional service roles, traditional operational roles would pretty much be taken by the digital enablement and the tools that are available and getting designed as we speak in their capability bettering each day. What will remain and what will amplify is our ability to influence, generate value, walk hand in hand, and attain those goals individually. So it's no more under one roof. That reality is definitely going to be hitting us hard pretty soon. I hope I answered, Runa.
Absolutely true. I think you have rightly said, and very interesting. We have 119 questions, and I'm trying my best to curate and put together similar questions for you. And while Saurabh is using technology in tweeting, so I want to go back to Saurabh with the next question, and I'll come to Guru Raj and Anil and Devyani quickly for last few minutes. So Saurabh, your question is very interesting one, but the person has not written his name or her name. Employees are ending up working from more than usual, so they are now getting fatigue and burnout. What should be the approach of an HR?
So I think it's going to be a work-life integration, and I related back to the challenges question, which was posted, where one of the challenges which is definitely going to come up is to the younger ones who are around in our homes, how do you explain that? Why are you stuck to your mobile, your laptop for this long, when your endeavor is to reduce their screen time? So I think that is going to be one of the elements which is going to play a critical role. And relating it back to your question, Runa, I think the role of HR is going to be more of an influencer, where you educate your employees of how do you really look at maintaining that integration when it comes to the work life, and making sure that if that calls for tracking if people are taking leaves, people are taking breaks, so be it, because at the start we might have to push people to take leaves, make them aware that taking a break is very, very important, and then it becomes a part of a BAU process. So I think one is information sharing. Second is being a counselor. Third is I'm not saying a stick approach, but more of pushing a few things of taking break or taking leaves. I think these are different ways in which HR can really influence, and at the same time the level of engagement initiative has to go up. It's no longer a fun Friday on one Friday in a month. It has to be more of those events, so that people at least get some free time, if not away from the machine, at least from their work, because of these initiatives.
Thank you, Saurav, and I would once again like to thank all my speakers, and we have just touched 6:30. So that's my end time, and we started at 5 minutes beyond our time. So I'm taking that time for our organizers to conclude. And thank you, Guru Raj, for responding to the question online. So while Saurav was tweeting, you were responding to questions. I think that's technology which is enabling us. So thank you, Guru Raj, thank you, Anil, thank you, Devyani, thank you, Saurav, and thank you, Kashish. So over to you, Rahul, Chandan, and Ritesh. And I think we had a very interesting session. And thank you, audience. I could never forget that I was actually trying to put my thoughts how to bring these 120 questions and which are the ones I should be asking. So thanks for the pressure on the moderator. So over to you, Rahul, and I think I would like to thank everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Runa. It was a fantastic, moderated session. Chandan, you are here. Would you like to take it up?
So now you may continue, no issues.
No, please continue. It's okay.
Yes, so thank you so much. The moderation done by Ms. Runa Mehta was fabulous. It was a wonderful participation, equally from the panel speakers. The participation from the audience, I would really thank all the audience out here for listening this webinar so patiently and participating their very part by putting up valid questions in front of the panel which we had. So digital outreach in HR during COVID-19 and beyond was such an apt topic. This was being discussed with all the panel speakers and with the moderator, Ms. Runa Mehta, and then we concluded that this should be the topic of the time, and good justice has been done to this. And I would really thank again Mr. Srinath Guru Raj Rao, Mr. Saurabh Shah, Mr. Anil Joseph, Kashish Daya Kapoor, and Devyani Sinha. So thank you so much for sparing out your precious time and telling us all about what should be the exit point maybe after this COVID era. And we'll keep forward and we'll keep inviting you in the series of webinar. It was just the first series of the digital outreach. We are continuing this series with another 4 sections of this webinar. Maybe we'll be engaging the audience and the speakers panel, maybe from the other sectors of the industry. So today it was focused on the ITS sector. Maybe in the coming sessions we'll be covering the manufacturing, academia, and maybe FMCG and e-commerce segment as well. So I would really like to thank our partners, It's a PTI for being the knowledge partner, learning partner InnoServe group, employer branding partner Cobus, AI partner Orai Robotics, community partner ASMA. So thank you so much, the moderator, ma'am, Runa Mehta, and all the panelists, all the audience out over here, all the partners over here. So in the sake of pandemic COVID, I would appeal everyone to stay safe and stay tuned. Keep following our social media pages. And for your knowledge, we have started the WhatsApp group of Digital HR, and we'll be sending you the WhatsApp invite. I will be appealing everyone to kindly join in this WhatsApp group so that the discussion, even beyond this session, keeps on continuing. And we'll be posting the recorded version of this seminar. Who could not, maybe because of the technical reason, could attend this webinar, can definitely take the benefit out of the recorded version on our YouTube channel, and even I'll be posting it as a post on the Facebook and LinkedIn pages of Digital HR. So keep following our pages. You just have to write Digital HR in the search column of LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Like it, subscribe it, and we'll be updating you with our future progressions. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a safe and happy life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe, stay connected. Bye.